All right, guys, welcome back to another BASSCAST on BassEast.com. We got Keith Combs again with us tonight after the Florida run. Just finished up 19th place, Okeechobee. What's going on, Keith?
Oh, not much, Ricky. Just made it back to Texas. Florida was great to me, but I sure am glad to be back home. That was a long trip.
Yeah, no doubt. You had a couple real strong finishes down there. How'd you catch them at Okeechobee?
You know, Okeechobee fish totally different than the St. John's, and mainly because the fish at Okeechobee were further along. You know, most of the fish down there, in my opinion, were post spawn. There was already a shad spawn happening on Okeechobee, and that was a big factor. I mean, you could definitely see it in the mornings. You know, there was a lot of shad active spawning in some of the areas that had a hard bottom. You could get outside of the reed line and just catch hundreds of bass on a running bait. But the bigger ones, the bigger fish that I caught, I flipped a 1 ounce black and blue Strike King jig and had a little pocket crawl behind it. And most of them I would catch just on the initial flip. You know, I was using a 1 ounce so I could make more flips and get through the reeds easier. But it was, you know, typically, you know, on spawning type bite or something, you kind of soak your bait in there, but it was, you know, you just flip it in there and they'd have it immediately. So I just really used the jig the whole time I was there.
Well, the shad spawn, is there anything particular you look for when you're fishing a shad spawn that makes one area better than the other?
Well, you know, I mean, if you get to a lake and, well, first I want to, you know, determine if that's going on or not, you know, and a lot of times you'll see it just immediately after the bass or, you know, coming off the beds, or maybe a few bass left on beds, but that's the time of year you get your shad spawn. And, you know, they're going to spawn on different things. Usually they're going to spawn around something hard, like a hard bottom area or a rock bank or something like that. You know, Okeechobee, you don't really have a lot of rock banks, but you'll have hard bottom areas. So, you know, when you get around the hard bottom area, then I just start to see what cover is holding the better fish. And, you know, when I can mix that hard bottom with a strong outside reed line, you know, not the real patchy stuff, but the, you know, the hard edges, you know, that's what I was targeting. But, you know, like a shad spawn will kind of go on all over the lake, but certain areas will still have those schools of the larger fish, and you know that's what some found. You know, I think that there were several guys who fished that kind of pattern, but they found a better school than I did.
Right, gotcha on that. Well, you know, we're pretty excited about the way you finished down there in Florida, and you know we're getting ready to move into the summer. What do you think about the upcoming events?
Man, you know, I love to make it through the Florida thing because that's always kind of a scary deal. Florida is so hit or miss, and man, if you miss the bite down there, you can totally get dusted. And so I'm glad I came out of there with 2 good finishes. And you know, I consider myself to be a better fisherman in the summertime, fall time, and you know, I'm looking forward to some of these other lakes, especially later on in this season. You know, we got Bull Shoals and Douglas, and those are kind of like more like your Highland type reservoirs, and that's definitely not the kind of place I prefer to fish. But you know, we're going to be there at good times of the year, and you know, those are probably the 2 tournaments when I looked at the schedule that I was probably as concerned about, if any. So you know, I want to get through these next 2, and then you know the next. The final 4, I think, will be good ones for me, especially with that one on Toledo, man. And we've got our water down here in Texas finally, and Toledo is going to be a stellar event. I mean, it's going to be a slugfest.
Well, with all the water coming up down there in Texas, it's bound to be helping the fisheries. When are you headed back to your home lake?
Well, I'm going to be on Sam Rayburn some probably. I'm going to take a couple days off and kind of regroup here, and then I'm going to get right into Rayburn. We have a EverStart FLW Everstart coming up here in 2 weeks. Which is going to be cool for me. I'll get to sleep in my own bed, and it's something not on the schedule. I don't have the time to follow that whole tour this year, so it's just going to be one here, one there on the Everstarts for me. So if I blow it, I'm not out of the Bassmasters Classic or something like that. It's just kind of go out and try to win and have a it's going to be a tournament that I think I'm going to be able to go out and just have a good time fishing.
All right, man. Well, it sounds great. We'll definitely see you at Douglas, but we'll be talking to you before then for sure.
All right, Ricky, man. Thanks for the call, and we'll talk to you at Douglas.
All right, Keith. Good luck, man. Hey, guys, this has been another edition of Bass East BASSCAST.